Hello and good afternoon. Indonesia and other Southeast Asian countries are located in one of the most disaster-prone regions in the world. In addition, the area is particularly susceptible to the effects of climate change. The countries in the region are facing increasingly intense and unpredictable weather events, which not only pose threats to the environment, but also endanger the safety and well-being of their populations. These conditions have prompted Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders, to direct their attention and work to the region, including Indonesia. The International President of MSF, Mr. Christos Christou, is visiting Indonesia and engaging in meeting with the government authorities and ASEAN members representatives in Jakarta. With operation in over 70 countries worldwide, the organization aims to strengthen its collaboration with Indonesia and neighboring countries in addressing humanitarian crises and global health concerns. I'm Purwani Dia Prabandari, and you are watching Tempo Talks. Today, the International President of MSF is here with us, Mr. Christos Christou. Mr. Christou, welcome to Tempo and welcome to Tempo Talks. It's an honor for us to have you here.
It's a pleasure and thank you for having me.
Is it the first time you come to Indonesia?
Yes, it's my first time and I'm so excited.
Oh, so how's the first experience then?
It's a great experience. I'm so pleased to see happy people welcoming me, and they are all so kind. And I'm looking forward to engaging with all, not just authorities, but also the people in the region.
What is actually your agenda for your visit into Indonesia, and how is it going so far?
I think you summarized it very well at the beginning, because the main objective of my visit is related to responses to natural disasters.
Right.
And we try to understand how we can help, but also how can we learn from the experience that the region have all these years in natural disasters. So the idea is to work together to set up trainings. We have the emergency e-hub, as we call it, which is an exercise where we provide trainings together with the Minister of Health in different districts, and we focus in understanding what is a better way to respond to natural disasters.
How is it progressing?
So far, so good. People welcome this. We actually had on Saturday a first training with a district hospital. And the main aspects of these have to do with the psychosocial support. We try to understand how to make most use out of the informative systems, the geographical information systems. And we also provide our experience from different conflicts and responses in terms of mass casualty accidents and how to provide health on them.
It's not for all over Indonesia, right? So it's just some regions here for this program.
Well, we start with this, but our vision and our ambition is to expand also in other places.
Okay. And what about the result with the ASEAN members representatives that you met with some of them, of course?
Yes, it was a great opportunity to come in this specific time of the year. They're all here. They all have serious meetings. And of course, Indonesia is chairing the ASEAN region these days until the end of the year. So I wanted to not just engage with them, but address two key issues. The one is the responses to the natural disasters and all the climate emergency that comes behind it. But also to share our concerns on the situation of people on the move and especially by the Rohingya population.
Okay. What do you think the most serious threat to Indonesia in terms of the emergency preparedness priorities? And how do you see Indonesia dealing with it?
There is a lot of experience in responding to natural disaster, but what we can do together is to coordinate better. And before the next problem comes, and I hope it never comes, but we need to know each other and understand what MSF, Doctors Without Borders, can do to complement the already existing response by the authorities here.
Mm. So how do you see about the government response?
They're very interesting in working with us, and these days we are reviewing also the Memorandum of Understanding. We try to make it more dynamic and more flexible in order to be able to respond also in unprecedented crises that they have.
What is the most serious threat to Indonesia in terms of like disaster or climate change? Or probably it's already the climate crisis right now.
Exactly. I think it's this climate emergency that we should all focus, and especially regions like the one we are sitting in today. Climate emergencies are not only related to natural disasters that we see sometimes they are getting even more deteriorated. We see also other problems that we didn't have in the past. Like, for example, we see Pacific Island nations getting literally disappearing under the sea because of the rise of the sea levels. We also see several health consequences to people related to the climate emergencies. And we are worried not only to the natural disasters, but all other consequences that they can cause to health, that they are longer term, and they may not be that visible when we talk about climate crisis.
Can you elaborate about that?
Yes. For example, all these changes in the climate these days have caused more resistant species of mosquitoes. So we see a higher burden of diseases like dengue or malaria.
Yeah.
And the alternation of floods or droughts may be not that visible in this part of the world, but in other places that we intervene, like in African countries, we see that they have caused serious problems with malnutrition and with the movement of the people within and outside their own countries. And these are roughly a few of the medical consequences that we have. And next to this, we can add also the air pollution that affects the people in the longer term, and we are not very aware of.
Yeah, so it's actually so many people is already aware about the climate change impacts on the nature and people's lives, but it's, sometimes they just don't think about the impacts to the people's health, right? And I don't know if you talk to many Indonesians or to some Indonesians if they really care about it.
Well, I don't think that Indonesians care less than others. I think that all around the world, there's still some denialism. And I think our work today is also to do our best to sensitize the people. Because in most of the places where we intervene, wherever we work these days, we see both the direct and the indirect consequences of climate emergency and the environmental degradation to the people's health.
Yeah. And what do we have to do to handle it and prevent it from getting worse?
There are several things. One very important is mitigate as much as possible these emissions. In other words, we know that fossil fuel is the main reason now of all this climate crisis, and we have to look at it and do as much as possible now. Next to that, many countries that they will be affected mostly, they need also to find all adaptation measures to adapt to what is going to come next. And the third very important component of our response is related to all the losses and damages that may come and how we request extra funds to really protect these countries. And these are the three key areas of what we are planning also to assist all these countries with in the light of the next COP in Dubai, the COP28, where I'm very pleased at least to see that this year we will have one day related to health in the agenda of the COP.
And how do you see the response of the Indonesian government or also the neighboring countries' government on this issue?
They have to play a leading role, which there's still a lot of space to improve there and do that. They have to really prepare themselves for these agendas. And next to the adaptation measures, they have to push hard for loss and damages. And we know that we need more money to come through funding mechanisms.
So now it's not enough.
No, it's not enough. It's not enough. And I'm afraid that the easy way is to recycle the already existing money from humanitarian crisis responses to those responses that are related to climate change. But this is not going to resolve the problem. Taking money from one place, put it in another, may provide some solutions, but they will cause more problems in the other side.
Right.
So we need more money, we need new money, and I think ASEAN region and their leaders need to push hard for this.
There is a commitment from the international communities, especially from the developed countries, right, for this kind of project.
Yes, commitments are there, but it's not enough.
The money is
and that's where leaders from the region can be really more pushy on this. And organizations like mine are always there to explain why it is so important to link health to all the climate emergency and treat this as a serious humanitarian crisis as well.
About the health problem. About is there any significant health issue that Indonesia and other Southeast Asian countries must anticipate seriously?
We should be very worried about the dengue fever and the higher burden that we see these days. We should be worried about the air pollution, something that also MSF cannot really analyze at the moment, but we know that exists here. We should be extremely cautious of waterborne diseases.
Water.
And this is like, yes, everything that has to do with sanitation of the water. As drinkable water is very important because otherwise you can have a series of gastrointestinal problems. And especially in the little children, they can even be very fatal.
And what MSF can do to help on this situation?
We are here to share experience that we have from outbreaks from all over the world, and we are here to work hand in hand with the authorities, with them being always on the driving seat and us complementing what needs may exist by, I repeat, sharing our know-how. And maybe sometimes this is not enough. But don't forget that although we were present in Indonesia since many, many years and we have a long history, it is now that we introduce MSF to the society, and it is now that we want the authorities to get to know us better in order to work together.
I see. And what about the pandemic? I mean, it's like the threat of pandemic in the future.
We come out from a pandemic and we need to learn a lot of lessons from that. There are many lessons there, but I don't think we have learned from them yet. And in the light of preparing for the next pandemic, which I hope doesn't come or doesn't come soon, we have to really go back and see what didn't go well. And one of the things that didn't go well with this pandemic was all the products related to COVID were not treated as common goods. We found them mostly distributed in those wealthy places in the world. And I'm not only referring to the vaccines. This could be the case also with diagnostics. This could be the case also with other treatments and all the protective equipment. So wealthy countries have more, while at the same time, the most less developed countries, let's say, they didn't have even enough to protect the staff, the healthcare workers.
Okay, so it still becomes a serious problem for everyone in the world, right?
It is, and maybe a solution there, or something that I already address with all the leaders that I meet these days, is that Indonesia and the region can really play an important role in developing the capacity and getting this, what we call self-reliance. Okay. They can start with making a diagnostic hub. They can develop diagnostic tools and maybe later also share with others the experience and the know-how in order to be able to respond to the next pandemic without waiting from the big pharmaceutical companies in Europe or US to do that.
So strengthen the cooperation with other countries too, of course.
That is crucial. That is integral.
MSF operates in conflict zones, providing humanitarian aid to refugees, for migrants and forced migrants and internally displaced persons, right? And currently, which regions are experiencing the most severe crisis?
As you said, we are in more than 70 countries. We are an organization that, thanks to more than 7 million people, individuals donating to us, supporting us, we have the quite unique financial independence. We do not rely on any money or any financial support by governments. And this gives us all the space to go there where we think that most of the problems exist. And out of these 70 countries these days, I can bring a few examples where there are protracted crises, but people do not talk a lot about them.
Where is that?
Yemen is a place where after the ceasefire last year, the situation is still very tense. There are huge humanitarian needs with vaccination gaps, with malnutrition, with several primary healthcare diseases and services that they are missing. Democratic Republic of Congo, Syria, and North Syria, especially after the earthquake, have also affected a lot.
So still a lot of problems.
And there are many others that I would like to share with you by names. Like, yes, we also are extremely worried about the situation in Ukraine. We were there.
That's the new problem.
Yes, in Ethiopia, in Tigray, after the war, the situation is very unstable. And just to name a few of the places where protracted conflicts exist. And let us not forget that also we have more than 1 million refugees, the Rohingyas people in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, and they live in a precarious situation and very inhumane conditions.
Yeah, talking about the Rohingya, this is the Southeast Asia countries issue, right? So, how should Asian countries address the situation concerning Rohingya refugees?
It is important to understand that Asian countries here and the region can play a leading role in the diplomacy and in sorting the problem. And I strongly believe that any solution must come from this region. I don't know how this solution will look like, and especially the political aspects of that is something that I cannot comment and I cannot have the analysis. However, I do know, and I'm pretty convinced, that if there is one thing that we can start with is enabling the humanitarians to provide more of the humanitarian aid to all this population. And I'm referring especially to the people in Rakhine region at the moment, where they have also been affected a lot by the very recent cyclone Mocha. MSF is there. MSF was always there. We never abandoned all this population the last more than 2 years. And we can do more. We need the access to be there and stand by those people that they need us. And I'm not only referring to Rohingya people there. All the population has serious needs. MSF can provide more of what they do today.
So MSF doesn't have access to those people, even in the Rakhine?
It's very restricted, and I'm sure that we can do more. And I would like the Myanmar authorities also to give us more space in order to be more close with more things to the population that they need us.
And how do you see Indonesian respond on this kind of issue about, especially about the Rohingya? And probably it's also with other refugees and they coming to Indonesia, probably just for temporarily, but they are here. So how do you think about that?
Indonesia is a country that can welcome the people and really try their best to alleviate the suffering of those they need. They are very aware of the situation. They chair the ASEAN region these days, so they can play a role there. And as I had these conversations with the authorities of Indonesia these days, MSF is also standby and always willing to assist with any request that they may come, especially from those hotspots that are receiving refugees.
That's true. Okay, now it's on personal notes, of course. You have been a long time with the MSF, right? And also you have been assigned in some conflict zones and difficult area, challenging areas. So what initially motivated you to join the organization, and what keeps you still stay there till now?
I graduated the medical school and I always wanted to become a doctor to help others.
Okay.
But I realized when I started my career that maybe this is not enough. I wanted to stand in solidarity to those people that they are mostly excluded, those that they are left behind. And these people were not in my hospital or in my own country. These people are everywhere around the world. We have pockets of exclusion and poverty everywhere. So I wanted to join an organization that has this as their primary objective. This is what we call our imperative, the humanitarian imperative, to stand by those that they are needing us more. And that's how I started my journey. Of course, it's not an easy journey. Many times you feel disappointed, you feel discouraged. You may lose all this passion because you see that the world is not improving.
Yeah.
But at the end, what keeps you there is the hope that you give to people. And when you stand by the people, when you try your best, no matter if sometimes you don't have enough to offer to them, but they look at your eyes and they say, "Thank you for being here. Thank you for treating me as a human being. This gives me hope to carry on." And this is what matters more.
The feelings. Okay. And you still want to work there for a longer time, right?
I will always be excited with such an organization, and I will always be proud of what we do. And of course, I understand that sometimes it's not easy and sometimes we could do more, but we keep trying, and engaging with these people, engaging with their communities will help us also to learn and become better.
Can you share with us some of the most impactful experience or memorable experience during your work with MSF, of course?
There are several examples, but what I said before matters a lot, because I remember once I was in a project and there was an HIV patient that when he heard that I'm not going to stay for longer and I'm leaving the project, he decided to stop his antiretroviral treatment because he felt like there's no hope. He's leaving. I tried to explain to him that, somebody else will come and take over from me. And, I'm another human. I have my family. I have to go back home. And he said, no, doctor, you're not a human. You are my hope. And
Wow.
that is something that I always remember, because this is what MSF can be about. And there are several moments where you really feel like you offer something, because we are in the middle of a chain. From one side are all these people that they want to support us, and from the other side are the people that they receive this support. And we are there to implement this for happening. But each one of this chain is a very equal and important part. And sometimes those supporting becomes also those that they need our help. So that is very powerful in MSF. This is one of the moments that I always bring in my mind.
So it's not just help, but it's also hope. It's
It's help,
really
it's
important.
hope, is,
Right.
is human dignity, is standing in solidarity to those people that they need.
Right. So what's about the current key challenge that MSF is facing?
Well, excellent question. Maybe many challenges, because I think that the humanitarian environment these days is becoming more hostile and is not that friendly to humanitarian NGOs like Médecins Sans Frontières. But if there is one thing, is the restricted access. We don't have access to all those people that they need us, and we would like to have more. And next to this, we experience more and more medical attacks to the medical care. Our hospitals getting bombed, our activity somehow sometimes is criminalized. So we would like everyone to respect the very few conventions we have and what we call the international humanitarian law, to understand that the doctors are doctors, and doctors of their enemies should not become their enemies, but just stay doctors and be able to be everywhere where there is a need.
Okay. Mr. Christou, thank you for the insightful conversation. But before we conclude this program, probably you still have something that you think important to say.
Well, I really want to thank you for giving us this opportunity. I think that Indonesia as a society has a lot of potential to come closer to what MSF is here about. And I'm pleased to have this opportunity to introduce MSF to you. We share the same values. We share the same, concerns about humanity and about the future of this world. So let's learn from each other.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Viewers, thank you for watching us. I'm Purwanidia Prabandari. You can watch the next Temple Talks in the following month with another interesting topic and another interesting guest. Good day.